Hey, this is Danny from the Magic Our Way podcast, and you guys are listening to the BS Podcast Network.
This podcast brought to you by OuchThatHurts.com. Visit Ouch That Hurts for music, gaming, reviews, editorials, podcasts, and more. Ouch That Hurts, HERTZ.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Save Point Podcast. This is Dan, joined here by Steve. How are you doing, Steve?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. We had a huge group last week, and now it's just you and me.
We had to fire everybody because they weren't up to our standards.
Weren't up to our standards. No, actually, I really don't know. I know where like two of them are. I don't know where the other one is, but
it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
It's cool. This podcast is like it's like a family of cats, and the cats will just wander in and like meow at you for a while, and then wander off for a couple of weeks. You know,
some of them like tuna, some of them like liver. You know,
I mean, yeah, you know, some of them are stupid. No, I don't know. It's so mean.
But you know what's not stupid?
What's not stupid?
Joining our Discord. So join our Discord.
Yes, please.
Also, what also is not stupid is go to OuchThatHurts.com. That's OuchThatHurts, HERTZ.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you know it's even more not stupid?
What?
Going to the BS Podcast Network for all your podcast needs.
Oh, hell yeah.
So
love that place.
So check those three things out. You can join our Discord at any link or any episode. The link is right there. And then check out our sponsors, BS Podcast Network and OuchThatHurts.com. But we are episode 36. This is part 2 of our E3 kind of reactions. I thought we had a really good show last week with all 5 of us talking about Xbox and Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into that, what have you been playing, Steve?
Oh man, since I didn't get a chance to say what I was playing last week, and then before that it had been a couple weeks, I could probably talk about like 8 games that I've played, but I'm not going to because we don't have 3 hours to hear me talk.
I mean, we could get to 3 hours. I mean, I can pop on like ESO or whatever and just let you go.
Just let me talk for a bit.
Yeah, I could quest for a while. You can go do your thing.
Oh man, are you back into ESO?
Actually, that was going to be what I've been playing, so I'll wait for me to say what I've been playing.
Okay, all right. So I'll just cover what I've been playing on the PS4 because that's the new hotness.
Yep.
Well, you know, no, I'm not. Sorry, I just thought of one that I wanted to talk about from.
Son of a bitch, Steve! Would you get organized?
I'm playing with everyone's emotions. So the Outer Wilds. Is it just Outer Wilds? I don't remember, but I think it's an Xbox only game or Xbox and PC or something only.
Xbox and PC right now.
Is that what it is?
I think so. Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna Google that real quick.
I will do that. You keep talking.
Oh man. Okay. It's really good. It's one of those games that was like this little game that kind of showed up out of nowhere, and I hadn't really heard of it other than people saying the title, getting it confused with the Outer Worlds, and then after that, hearing people go like, actually, it's a pretty good little game. So I started playing it without knowing what it was at all, without even watching a trailer.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, it's Xbox and Windows only right now. Okay,
Xbox, Windows only. Okay, so if you have a PS4 or a Nintendo or a Sega or a Jaguar or a 3DO, you're out of luck. So
you want to list any more?
No, I'm good. It's a fun game. It almost like at first it feels like a tech demo for like gravity based space travel, almost like Kerbal Space Program a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then as the game continues, it kind of develops and it kind of makes more sense. But I would almost describe it as, and this is a term I thought of as I was going pee earlier. it's
As
almost
you were going pee earlier, is that what you just said?
yeah.
Okay, I
was
just wanted to
peeing.
make sure that that's what you said.
No, yeah. I was peeing and I was trying to think of how to describe this game, and I want to say it's like forest punk, if that if that makes any sense. There's like
Yeah.
spaceships and like not guns but like gravity throwers and just like all this stuff, but it's like made out of like trees and leather and then like little electronic boxes and like little crystals that are like magical almost, but they explain them as having like just these gravitational effects. So it's very much this world, and you're some kind of weird alien. You're like these weird aliens, and they grew up on this tiny forest planet, but they've used all the stuff around them to create space travel. And gravity is super weak on their planet, or it actually fluctuates very quickly. So you have the spaceship that can leave the planet very easily. And so they've started like this space program, but it's almost like they're in the 1800s. And like it's just the art style and everything's so like weird and quirky, but really cool. But anyway, the main gameplay is that you're exploring. And like there hasn't been anyone that went off to space in a long time, and you're like the first one in a while. And so you're going off into space and like discovering things. So the first place they tell you to go to is their moon. And so you have to like finagle and figure out like how to get your ship over there, and like you can get stuck in like gravity, and you have to like there's all of this gravity and moving in 3 dimensions and all this kind of stuff, which is a lot of fun because it's very forgiving, right? You can like bounce around and like hit things, and it's not really a big deal. And so you discover the moon, and there's like this ancient alien tech thing on it. And so as I'm playing this game for the first time and I'm going through all this stuff, I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is kind of fun. Like they're going to slowly have me explore the entire like solar system. And there's like some people missing, and like I'll find them and you know, whatever. And then out of nowhere, like the screen starts distorting in this weird way. And like, then all of a sudden I'm going down this weird tunnel, and then I'm back at the start of the game. And my character's like, what just happened? What was that? And it turns out, and this is like very, very slight spoilers, but it turns out you're stuck in a time loop. And so before that happened, I thought that the game was kind of like I kind of got it kind of quick. Like, okay, I get what it's going for. But then this time loop happened, and like nobody else in the world is aware of it, but your character is. And all of the knowledge of things that you've explored stays with you, but you like get to start off fresh. And I can't tell if the time loop is timed in game or if it's after you discover something significant, then it loops you back to the start. And I haven't played it enough to figure that out. Okay. But super interesting because like you walk up to somebody and they start off their dialogue tree the same way. There's like these little dialogue trees, and your responses are completely different every time because you've heard them already. Right. And so you guess what they're going to say, or you take the conversation a different way or whatever. And the dialogue trees are very much like they say something, you have 3 choices, you pick one, and it doesn't like loop back around. So like if you ask like, oh, what color's the sky? Why is that tree over there? Or I like your dog. Like you pick one of those and then you don't get to choose the other 2. Right. But the next time you loop around your time loop, then you have the option to ask the other questions. And then aboard your ship, there's this computer that has like this branching path of the quests that you've discovered, and that stays up to date. And so every time you loop around, you can like explore more on these different quests and finding things. And there's all these clues about what happened and where other astronauts are and what's up with this alien race and all this stuff. For something that at first seemed to be like a weird little like gravity space travel tech demo, it turned out to be like so much more. And so I highly recommend it. It's a really fun game. So
you highly recommend it?
Yeah, I do.
Cool, because I'm also playing it too.
Awesome, man. So how'd I do? Is that like the basics of the game right there?
Very, very much so. Yeah, I haven't gotten as far as you, but it sums it up very nicely. What I did was I took advantage of the Xbox Ultimate Pass, like Game Pass or whatever.
Oh yeah, the Ultimate. I got that too.
Because I had like I had so many like months like piled on, and I guess you can convert that over because now it's linked with gold.
Oh,
so I'm
I see.
So I'm like, okay, let me see how many actual months I get, and then that's kind of like I'll take that as a free trial.
Uh-huh.
And if I continue with it, I'll just continue with it. If not, I'll just cancel it and just buy another year of Xbox Gold. You know, so I did that. I have it until my next payment is not until January of 2020. So I have Game Pass till 2020.
You have Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah, Game Pass Ultimate.
So
I'm going to get it on the computer. I'm going to get it.
There you go. Xbox and PC. You've got a lot of games, man. You just unlocked like 200 something games.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. So
that's cool.
I'm going to kind of see where I'm at, and if it's $15 and I like it, hey, why not? I mean, there's Cyberpunk 2077's coming to it. I mean, so it's just like
any Microsoft release goes to it.
Yeah,
essentially. So the next Halo is going to go to it. Any kind of Minecraft you have Minecraft now. You have no excuses. You now have Minecraft. You can play it.
Oh
yeah, buddy. Anyways, so all the major Microsoft stuff, comes to that pass. So that's pretty neat. You've got a lot to explore there.
Yeah.
So moving on. So moving to PS4, we're going to take a little travel back in time because I'm discovering the PS4 for the first time. I explained to everyone, last week I've got this PS4 now from this buddy's brother. Well, this buddy of mine, who he buys, all the consoles because he's a huge video game guy. And back in PS3 days, he played and let me borrow his PS3 to play the Uncharted series.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Hey man, this Uncharted's really good. Do you want to borrow my PS3 and play them?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, sure." And so I played the first 3 Uncharted games. I played The Last of Us. I played through the game with the origami serial killer, Heavy Rain. I played through Heavy Rain.
Yep.
And so when he said, "Hey man, here's this PS4," I said, "Thanks." He said, "Also, here's the next Uncharted game." And I was like, "Oh man, thank you." So I've been playing Uncharted for something about thieves. I forget what it's called.
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves, yes. Uncharted
No.
4 Sea of Thieves. It's a crossover with Microsoft. So a Thieves End or something?
Yeah, Thieves End. Yeah.
Thieves End. So I'm playing that, and man, those Uncharted games are so good. Like more games.
Yeah. The storytelling in that is just so good. Yeah.
It's great the way that they do like exploration areas, like really story-driven action pieces, the characterizations. Like every time I play an Uncharted game, I think to myself, why isn't at the time LucasArts, but like why aren't they doing Star Wars games like this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
If it just like a coat of paint, like take out Nathan Drake and put in like generic Star Wars bounty hunter that you get to name, right? And like all these action set pieces you just throw like AT-ATs in there and like snow speeders and it'd be just as fun and cool. So anyways, I've always thought like give those guys the Star Wars license and just print some money. Like that's all you need to do.
You know what I think works, especially with Naughty Dog, and I'll even go into The Last of Us with this too.
What's that?
Is that there's an authenticity, I think I said that right, authenticity to the characters. Like, it doesn't feel like somebody just is reading off of a script,
Oh yeah, those characters feel 100% real.
Yeah, these would be the conversations that you and I would have. Like if we weren't, if we were sitting and whatever, like this is how we would talk to each other. Mm-hmm. Obviously the subject matter is different because we're not, exploring and all of that. But
right.
But to me, I think that's the one thing. That's one thing that Naughty Dog just does so well with their characters is just. You feel that they're real, like you feel a connection to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like past, like I want to know their story. I'm interested in their story.
Yeah, and what it boils down to is writing and storytelling, and the action set pieces. While they're good, they also serve the story. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not in there just to be in there. And I feel like a lot of times games will throw something in because it's cool. And that's all that it is, and it takes you out of the characterization. And I think that's where like the latest Tomb Raider games have gone wrong. Is it's a set piece with a story wrapped around it instead of a story with a set piece that serves the story.
Yeah,
because there was a really great moment in the first Tomb Raider reboot, like 2016, I want to say, and and where Lara like shoots somebody and kills them for the first time, and it's this great like emotional scene. And then a second later, when the cutscene's over, she's just blasting people left and right without a care in the world, right? And like,
yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. There's this incongruity. Where in Uncharted, like the cutscenes and the gameplay are so seamless in the characterizations that it just all fits together so well. And then there's like all the little asides and like little things they say in comments, and it's really clever. It's really cleverly written, and I absolutely love it. So
there was so I'll go to with what you're talking about. I'll go to The Last of Us because I think I played The Last of Us probably 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I absolutely love that game.
How many times did you watch that cut scene of the fungus like ripping the dude's like mouth open? That was horrific, man. That's horrific. Every single time that happens. Oh, it just hurts my mouth.
So you've actually played it. So I can call spoiler right now.
Oh, I played it. I finished it. Yeah, it was great.
So spoiler right now, and give me like 5 minutes if you're listening. Spoiler, go 5 minutes ahead. So there's three scenes that kind of always get to me. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And the first one is the first opening scene that you get. The daughter and father, and it's like you understand why Joel is the way he is after that scene.
Mm-hmm.
You understand how cold he is and why he's so cold.
Yeah.
The next one was
just real quick, kudos to them for putting that scene front and center and not somewhere in the middle of the game where you're like guessing the whole time, like, why is he like this? And then suddenly you play this thing, you're like, oh, that's why. But they put it front and center without like hiding it. They're like, no, here it is, and we're gonna go from here. And that was a great choice on their part.
Yep. The other one is the brother, where I believe it's at the end of winter.
I'm trying to remember the brother.
The two brothers that you get, and the one brother becomes infected. So the other brother has to go in and do the thing with his brother.
I don't remember that part, but
okay. So Ellie is with the younger brother, and she ends up finding out that he's bitten. So he turns. So the older brother goes in there and has to kill his younger brother. And then he comes out of the room, looks at Ellie and Joel, and then takes the gun and shoots him in the head, and then he drops. And then it's the end of that chapter.
I completely am drawing a blank on that.
Really?
Wow. But yeah, for whatever reason, I don't remember that part. But okay.
And then my last one, and this is where my heart sank. Like I usually don't get like fearful in games. Like it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to have a lot of shit that I have to do or whatever. Mm-hmm. Except for some horror games. Some horror games have some good jump scares. But this was like the terror thread was God, I can't remember the guy's name, but they pick up the one guy, the one survivor, and he's helping him out or whatever like that. And then he turns over and he says, and yeah, I found out that my gang was killed by a girl and some older guy or however he puts it.
Oh yeah, I remember
and
that.
And you're just like, oh shit. Yeah. Yeah. Like, but that's the thing though, is like you feel different emotions for each one of those scenes, but it's the same game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's a feeling that like, oh shit, I lived through the death of his daughter. Oh shit, I lived through, you know what I'm saying? Like that scene with the brothers, and it's like, holy crap! Like I came a long way in this game. Like you feel mentally tired after playing The Last of Us, and it's one of those like great feelings of that mentally tired. You know?
Yeah. It's like you survived something, just like the character survived something.
Yes, and I think that's why that game works so well, and that's why I have very high hopes for the second one. And sometimes it's like the what I'm fearful for the second one is it going to live up to the first one? Like how it's like that sequel curse. Don't make the sequel unless you know that you can either be just as good, if not better, than the original. Don't just make a sequel just to make it.
Yeah, and that the first one came out in the PS3, and so like they're taking their time with the sequel. They had that announcement trailer like 2 years ago with Ellie like playing guitar, and then there was another. Was that 3 years ago?
That was 3 years ago, because 2 years ago, no, 2 years. Well, last year. I'm sorry, no, last year. So no, you're right. 2 years ago, and then last year was the one where she's dancing and Ellie and the girl kiss while they're dancing.
Yeah, that's right.
So
so they're taking their time with it, and I'm sure that they've got the clout to do it as well. Like everyone,
I am 100% for it.
Yeah, take another couple years. I don't care. Like, because that's going to be like, for me, The Last of Us. I know you said you played it like 3 or 4 times, which is great, but that experience for me was like one and done. Like, I feel like if I played again, it would cheapen the experience almost. Like, it was such a powerful thing, because I at the time I was laid off, and so I was able to just kind of sit down every day and like play it for several hours. And so that's probably why I don't remember some of this stuff, because I think I finished it within like 4 or 5 days, something like that. Like, I just kind of went through and just boom, boom, boom. Yeah. But it was, when I was done, it was like, that was an epic experience, and now I'm gonna like put that away because it's done now, you know. And it was so, like you said, emotionally taxing. Like, it's finished. Before I play the second one, I'll probably like look up like a YouTube like not review, but like a summary or something to like remember the high points or something like that.
You know they'll come out with those. You know they will.
Oh yeah, there's probably, I bet you on YouTube right now there is a Last of Us movie that is all the cutscenes and stuff that's like 4 or 5 hours long. Like I 100% believe it. Okay, so I've played a bunch of Uncharted 4. And then I also, so I've got a bunch of games on deck because my buddy was like, here, sign in with my account. And like, he's got, 200 games or something. So the next Uncharted, like the Uncharted mini game, the Lost Legacies, is that what it is?
So with the two girls?
With the 2 girls, yeah. I've got that on deck next after I've finished Uncharted 4. And then I've also have the other one that I'm playing is Until Dawn. Is
that the story one?
Yeah. So that came out in 2015, and it's called an interactive drama adventure game by Supermassive Games. And this one, a couple people have told me like, hey, this is really awesome. You should check this out. Like to me, like they would recommend it because of the stuff that I like. And so I started playing it, and it's right up my alley. Besides the fact that it is a horror game, which usually I'm not into like horror movies or like horror in the terms of like a slasher flick, like that kind of horror I'm usually not into. But I'm into this because it's choice based. It's like a choose your own adventure almost. Where there's scenes, there's like 8 different main characters, and I say main characters because you as the player get to switch between these characters so often that each one is very well developed and is almost a star of their own little their own movie. And then there's this whole like a butterfly effect thing where when you make certain choices in the game, like a little symbol appears, and it's like, this was a choice that drastically changed the outcome of this playthrough. And that has happened several times so far. So this is definitely a game that once I'm done with it, I don't know how I've played it for like 2 hours or something like that, and like nobody's died yet. And I don't know if that's because I've been playing good or because it just hasn't started happening yet. I don't know. But like when I'm done with it, I kind of want to go back and start another playthrough and just make drastically different choices just to see how different it can be. And so that's been fun, and it's cool to see like the actors, like there's really cool mocap and like face capture and stuff. And there's a couple of stars in it, like the Hayden Panettiere.
Hayden Panettiere,
yeah. So she's one of the characters, and the other one is Rami Malek, who at the time in 2015 was kind of a nobody, but now he's been
Freddie Mercury and all of that.
Yeah, he was Freddie Mercury in the was it just called Rhapsody or
Rhapsody? Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian was it called Bohemian Rhapsody or just Rhapsody? I don't remember.
I think it was called Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, okay. And then the TV show about the hackers and stuff. I forget. I'm drawing a blank.
Where he lives, Mr. Robot or
Mr.
iRobot?
Robot. Yeah, Mr. Robot, which is really good. I've only watched 2 seasons of it, but I really enjoyed those 2 seasons. I think there's 2 more, and then the show ended. But he's really good in this, so I recognized those 2 right away. And then, and then the dude that's in, he's in Agents of Shield. Which agent was he? He started off in the beginning as like a good guy, and then he like.
I never watched Agents of Shield. I have no idea.
Guy. Oh, okay. Well, I recognized him like immediately as well, and then it was like, oh yeah, it's totally that guy. So like 3 out of the 8 are like prominent TV stars, if not movie stars, and then the other 5, I recognize one of them kind of, but I can't tell where, and then the other ones I have no idea. So it's interesting to see. It's an interesting gameplay because it is like a series of cutscenes, and then every now and then you're kind of walking around. There's lots of jump scares, which they've gotten me every single time, which is rare. It's hard to jump scare me, and they've been successfully doing it, and so that tells me something about the game. Yeah. No. So, so like the whole deal is that there's these 8 kids. They're off out in the wilderness because reasons, and they have like this dense web of interconnected relationships where there's like the ex-girlfriend and the new person and the old friends and like all this stuff that they've known each other for years. And so as you're playing the game, the drama of these people, you get kind of wrapped into it. And then all of a sudden, like something horrific starts happening, and like there's a series of like button presses that you have to do. And this is something new. I had no idea that my PS4 remote has a speaker in it.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was
one of the coolest things.
Yeah, and so whenever there is a QuickTime event, your controller beeps at you to like, because a lot of times like you're sitting there watching these cutscenes and it's hard to realize like, oh, now I'm supposed to do something, and so like as a kind of a cue, it'll beep at you, be like, hey, like pay attention, something's about to happen, that kind of deal. So it like beeps and vibrates every time like you're supposed to do a QuickTime event deal, which is cool. And then like the touchpad on it, like I thought the thing on the top was a touchpad, but this game like actually uses it to do things, and so that's cool too. So yeah, anyways, Until Dawn, that's kind of it's been fun so far, but I can see some people just totally being like, this is not for me. So I
am not a huge like story novel game guy. Like I mean like that whole thing. Was it like I used to joke because what was that like Xbox the Xbox launch title Rise
Oh,
I think it was called
right,
and I used to call it Rise of the QuickTime. I mean, because to me that's all it was. Like I played it and I'm like, oh my god, this is all QuickTime events.
Yeah, I never played it because
so but no, I've heard a lot of good things. I heard that's a good party game.
A good party game. Yeah, I could see that. Because because you could get into conversations about like, well, what should I do next, or what should I explore next, and then whoever's holding the controller, like if a QuickTime event thing happens, like, okay, don't screw up, you gotta do it. And then there's like all the characters have like stats and like relationship stats and stuff, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure why, but like they go up and down. Like you'll make a decision and then it'll say like status update in the corner. And if you go into like the pause menu, you go into the whatever character you have, there's all these bars that change and go up and down, like funny or brave or dramatic or romantic. They all go like up and down according to your choices. So, and then, when you talk to certain people, your relationships go up or down and stuff. Cool. Anyways, I think I've talked too much about Until Dawn. The other games that I have downloaded and ready to go, there's the one with Alloy, the future girl with the robot dinosaurs.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes, that one. That one's on deck. I really want to play that one.
You're gonna put way too much time into that game.
I'm sure I will. I watched a playthrough on YouTube when that game first came out, or I watched like several hours worth of a playthrough. I really dug it. Yeah. And so there's that one, and I want to say there's one more that I downloaded. Beyond Two Souls, and then the Detroit Become Human. I haven't downloaded yet, but I've got that one as well. I dig the Quantic Dreams stuff, but again, that's more like storytelling.
Yeah,
I
couldn't tell you. I know what they're about, but like I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't give any type of recommendation, yay or nay, for them.
How many fucks do you give on a scale of 1 to 0?
About you playing them, or about the game?
About the games in general.
About the games in general, maybe 4.
On a scale from 0 to 1, you give it 4 fucks.
Oh, from 0 to 1.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If I'm going 0 to 1, I'm going 0. Like,
yeah.
I'll play it. Like, those games are like I said, like we go out on Black Friday, like the day after Thanksgiving, that Friday or that night or whatever.
Yeah.
And like if it's like $5, okay, I'll pick it up so I can have it in my collection and maybe one day play it.
Sure.
But like I never like ran out to say, okay, I got to play this. Like when I saw them, like Beyond Two Souls, I was kind of like, okay, that's with what is it? The girl from
Page.
Ellen Page, the girl from Juno.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'm like, okay, that's cool that she's in it, but the story has no like. I went back and forth on that one of like, do you actually do stuff in it, or is it just a story? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And then, I got burned out. Like, I was really into Heavy Rain. Like, I really, really wanted to, and I think this is where I got burned out with story games. Is that I did that, and then I started, and I got it, and I was so happy, and whatever, and then I was like, I'm bored with it. Like it's a cool game, but it's just like, I was like, okay, got to the shower scene where you see the girl's boobs. I'm like, okay, cool. And I think the other thing too is that I knew who the murderer was. Like,
oh, you did?
Probably like an hour into the game. I'm like, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Like, and I'm not going to spoil it because it's just too hard to try to go through.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this is not like, I'm like, I already know who this is. Like, I don't even want to play the game because I know it's him.
Okay.
Or her.
Yeah. Good save. That's a great save. Yeah. I mean, those kind of games are for a very specific type of people, and you don't have to like all games. I happen to like those kind of games, but I play them few and far between because they take a lot of time and a lot of effort to like keep up with the story. It's very hard to play a game like that and like hit pause or save and then come back to it like 2 weeks later because it's like, well, what happened? And what's cool about Until Dawn, to bring it back to that, is that it's set up almost episodically, where every so often, I've come across 3 of these so far, the game ends with like some character being interviewed by a psychiatrist, and you have to like pick certain things, which I think is then like setting up stuff later in the game for you.
Correct.
And then it does a like previously on Until Dawn, it like does like a short recap, and then you start playing again. And like I really liked that because I could put this game down and then come back, in a couple months, and it'll give you that recap, and I'm like, okay, cool, and then I can keep playing.
That's
and
cool.
So yeah, I really liked that whole thing. So anyways, those are the games that I've been playing. I actually haven't played any more Fallout 76, but I just wanted to mention real quick that they extended the Battle Royale mode because it was so popular and people have been really digging it. And it was supposed to only be for the week of E3, and now they've extended it indefinitely. So yay.
I'm kind of not surprised about that. If it was working and people were liking it, I'm not surprised that they were like, "Hey, yeah, we'll let it go now until we decide it's not going to." That was supposed to be the whole thing with Fortnite. Like Fortnite, the Battle Royale was only supposed to be like a limited time thing.
Yeah, like that. You forget, but Fortnite was a completely different game at first.
Yeah, it was like, the whole premise of Fortnite is not what it is now.
Yeah, not at all. So, and this is, for them, I'm sure Bethesda is super happy because this is, I think, the reaction that's happening to this nuclear winter mode or this Battle Royale mode is what they thought they were going to get when they did the beta. Like, essentially, we're all doing the beta for this Battle Royale mode, right? Yes. Like, they said, here, play this early. And people have been loving it. And that's, the beta mode was like, hey, pre-order our game and then play it early. and then did not work out very well for them.
No.
So I think because this is now working out well and they're getting good feedback and people are enjoying it, they're like, cool, this is what we were expecting, which is kind of nice that they learned from the first time. Like they didn't go out and say, hey, beta's coming, everyone gets super psyched and excited for it. It was just like, there's going to be a new mode. And then they were like, the new mode's active today, instead of having all this hype behind it. Like Bethesda hype is real and it's dangerous. And they now know what happens if they don't live up to that hype, which was brutal. And so to have like a stealth drop and then to give everyone a free week, like the subreddit, the Fallout 76 subreddit has exploded with new people saying, hey, I thought this game was shit. Everyone told me this game was shit, but I played it because it's free and it's super good and I'm going to buy it now and keep playing it. What were those people talking about? And like there's post after post after post with people like saying that, which to me is great. Like there's going to be this huge influx Fallout 76 players that were people that just thought it was bad and turns out not so bad. So pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I agree. I wanted to try it. I just haven't had a chance to. So I'm kind of happy that they are
Extended it.
Yeah, extended it. So I was going back and forth on the game that I bought. Obviously, I said it earlier in the episode. I had like a $20 gift card from Best Buy, and it was just like, here, you can get this for $40. And I'm like, do I want to? Do I not want to? Do I not want to? And then it was my wife that was just like, you like Skyrim. You're looking for a game to kind of hold you over for a couple of things. She's like, and you keep talking about wanting to play it. You've talked about wanting to play it for like 6 months now. Just finally go and get it. So I got ESO, but I got ESO for PC. Like I tried to play like when it first came out on Xbox, and I didn't like it.
Okay.
Like I didn't like it, and then I'm like, this is a game that I need to play on a PC, but I didn't have a PC at the time that could necessarily run it.
Oh, okay.
So now that I do, I'm like, okay, what's a good game that I could get really, really deep into, like an MMO that I could really get into? And I've been trying to get into 76, but I don't necessarily consider that an MMO.
No, it occupies a weird space.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
And I tried, and my one buddy did the whole thing. Well, you got to get into WoW, and I couldn't get into WoW. Nothing against it. I just can't get into it.
That's fair.
There's just something about it that I just don't find it amusing. Okay. So my wife was just like, just get it. She's like, just get it. It's not a subscription fee. I mean, you can do the subscription if you want, but for like Premiere. And she's like, and if you like it, then you can do that. But if not, you spent $20 on a game. And she goes, you spent way more than money on other games that you didn't like. Totally. She's like, just go ahead, go get it. I'm like, okay, fine. So I got
my arm.
Yeah, he twisted my arm. So I got Elsewhere. I've probably put about an hour into it. I'm thoroughly confused on everything, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I really am.
It is not user, or it's not new player friendly at all.
No, it's not.
It throws so many different game mechanics at you so quickly with very little explanation. But like you said, like you just kind of keep at it, and it's still fun and it's still cool. Yeah.
I mean, I've watched a whole bunch of beginner videos. It's so amazing how different people feel like how you should begin a character. But a lot of, there's some commonalities to it. So I mean, I'm kind of, like I said, I'm only like level 4 right now. So
okay.
I haven't even scratched the surface. Obviously I'm just trying to get through the story missions or whatever, because I have Elsewhere I got to do. I got Morrowind, Somerset. I got just the base game that I have to get through. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's so much of just story that I have to get through before I can really even start to really kind of think of end game stuff,
Right. Oh yeah. And take your time, enjoy it. Like when you come into a game like this, like late, it and like several years late at this point, there's that feeling of like, I have to rush to the end to where like the quote fun is, but getting there is the fun. And so like, it's going to be a while till you're there. So just enjoy what you've got,
Like
right
I
now.
love,
That's cool.
like on this, I love collecting things. So like I can't wait to like go over and see like how I get mounts and pets and the house that I can decorate and the power. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Oh,
there's
yeah,
a whole
yeah,
bunch
yeah.
of stuff that I'm learning about. So you said it. You said again. Do you play ESO? Did you play it on Xbox or?
I played it on Xbox, yeah. A while back, it came to, I think, the Game Pass, or it was on Gold or
Yeah.
something. I don't remember. But I installed it and I played it, until I was level, I want to say like 6 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And it was a lot of fun. I just don't have the time to play an MMO right now. So
Yeah.
if I had MMO time, that's where I would put it, because it seems like you get a whole lot of bang for your buck, which was $0 for me. So
Yeah.
like I would totally play through all of the base game until it was like, all right, time for whatever expansion is next, and then start plopping down money. Or
And I
if
think
you-
speaking of it, without cutting you, I apologize for cutting you off, but
Go ahead.
the thing that I kind of like about it is that WoW, I think this is what got me. Is that WoW, I felt obligated I had to play it because I'm paying a monthly fee.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
that.
saying? Like it's like, oh, I have to play it. I have to get my money's worth. So it's like, okay, fine. And I'm just like, yeah. But with this, it's like I own it.
Mm-hmm.
I can play the game. It's like I said, if I want to go Premiere, I can. I don't have to. But I have the game. I don't have to, like, if I put it down for 3 months and I decide to pick it up, I don't have to repay a subscription fee to get into it. You know?
Yeah, totally. And doing that kind of model, I think that's why a lot of games are doing that model, because it's more attractive to put down a little bit of money. Now you have it. And then if you want to pay, and I don't remember, like, what's the premium? Does that like up your XP rate, or like what does it give you that's different from the free? Because it's not about like buying, fancy hats for your character, is it?
Some of its stuff is cosmetic, but you get like crowns. So crowns are like the in-game currency that you can use real money to buy. You can buy mounts. I think there's this one thing that kind of is that it's like this bag. So like one of the big focuses of it is crafting.
Okay.
And I think that you get this bag that you can have infinite like storage for crafting materials.
Okay, so you're paying for inventory space, which
basically
if it's free, then you have to really get in there and figure out. Okay, that makes sense.
But there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you get too.
Yeah,
I just don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been playing, and then I've been playing Dragon Star Veneer. I'm trying to finish up that review. Cool. I actually just on a side note, so we have 2 PlayStation 4s. I bought a launch one, and that was my primary one, and then Father's Day 2 years ago. Oh yeah, by the way, happy belated Father's Day.
Oh, happy Father's Day to you too, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So like 2 years ago for Father's Day, my wife got me a Pro.
Cool.
So we're like, oh, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, well, why don't you leave it upstairs and I'll play it. And she played a couple of games or whatever, but it kind of just sits. She's more into the Switch now.
Mm-hmm.
I find her borrowing my Switch. So I'm like, hey, would you mind if I take it downstairs? And then what I can do, because I got the Elgato card on my PC, instead of moving the Pro back and forth, because really the Pro is only for like 4K. I don't have a 4K screen for my computers. I'm like, would you mind? And she was like, no. So I have my PlayStation now hooked up into my computer. So now when I'm playing like for reviews or whatever, that's not necessarily whatever, I can actually now stream using my Elgato, and I can have my overlays in there for the save point and all of that instead of
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Cool, man.
Yeah. So that's what I've been playing Dragon Star Veneer on. I'm probably going to the rest of this week. I really got to finish up the review, but I'm still in the middle of playing it. So I think I might be streaming it because it has released. So I think I might be actually streaming it while I play and writing down my notes for it. So check out that review will be posted on Ouch That Hurts, ouchthathurts.com. So
yeah.
So getting into the topic of this week.
Yes, sir.
We're going to go over, I say let's go over Square Enix. Square Enix went last.
Okay.
Because I think there's something in the Ubisoft that we're going to want to talk about a little bit in depth.
Oh, yes.
So we're just going to do Square Enix and we're going to do Ubisoft. We're not going to do the Devolver and the PC game show or whatever. Whatever.
It's too much.
too much. I think these were the two big ones that people were really looking forward to on Monday. So these happened last Monday, or not last Monday, 2 Mondays ago, whatever. So Square Enix, they opened up with, I think, the best way they could have opened up, and that was Final Fantasy VII, the remake.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
how's it look?
It definitely is. The look of it, as far as aesthetics and cosmetics of it, looks amazing. Mm-hmm. We actually had a guy in the chat. I can't remember his name. Something no matters or something like that. When we were broadcasting it, and he was just like, I am not a Final Fantasy person at all, but he's like, this looks amazing. Like, he's like, how in the hell did they do this? Put these graphics together in this gameplay, because it's so fluid. Mm-hmm. They definitely created a different game. So like the original, as everybody knows, Final Fantasy turn-based RPG. Mm-hmm. This is not turn-based. It's action. It's action RPG all the way. Okay. I like the fact that how they explained it. They showed like what to do. Like, okay, here's your active or your ATBs or your active time bars. These are the things that you can do with them. This is how gameplay is going to work. This is how story is going to be told, which is really good. And then the one director of it, or one of the guys working on it, the first guy that came out, the Japanese guy, came out and he says, we're going to make a game worthy of this title, or however he said it. We're not going to disappoint. And I think that was the biggest like worry of people. We're like, okay, what are they going to do? And don't destroy this game. Like, because this game, like I talked about in a couple of previous episodes, this game is nostalgia for people. This was the game that got people into the PlayStation. This was the game that got people into RPGs. This was the first time you really felt emotion in a video game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Totally.
So there's a special place. I know there's a special place of this game in my heart, or my gaming journey. So the fact that what they're doing, I think, looks absolutely incredible. The way they explained it, I think, looks absolutely incredible, and they did a great job doing that. There's a couple of questions I have. So they said that it's going to be episodic. Okay. So now this is what throws me. So the beginning of the game takes place in the city of Midgar, the area of Midgar. So Midgar is run by Mako Energy, and there's these reactors, and there's different sections, and these different sections have these reactors that take Mako Energy. Now, Mako Energy is made from the essence of life, okay? And you learn all of this. I'm not going to get into it, but that's kind of like the essence of life is leaving. The soul of life, of what life is leaving the world. And that's kind of what the whole premise of the game is. The backstory of it.
Okay.
So you have certain areas now in RPGs. It's like you have this linear path, and you go from one side of the screen to the other. And if you go on the bottom part, then you hit this area. You can only travel this path, and then you walk over something, you get thrown into a battle. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's not necessarily an open world type sort of thing.
Right. It's like an open hallway.
Correct. Yeah. So, and then what happens is you end up leaving Midgar, and then the whole world opens, the whole world that you can start to walk to, and you find different towns and cities and all of that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Got it.
So they said that Midgar, the Midgar episode, is on 2 full Blu-rays.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So like, I'm wondering, is the whole game loaded on these 2, and then they're just going to release like content, and saying, okay, so now you have the whole game loaded, and you just haven't unlocked the ability to go into that area yet? Or are we looking that I have a Midgar that is, 2 Blu-rays big, And if you take a picture, and I'll put it into the Discord, if you look at Midgar, it's huge. I mean, it's a huge city.
It would make sense to me that the entire game is what you'll be buying on 2 discs, and it just unlocks like the different episodes are just kind of like unlock keys to like okay, here's episode 2 now, and maybe there's like a little patch or something that you download and then you get access to it, because that is huge. Like that is so big that it's either one of 2 things. One, what they do give you is so incredibly detailed that it's insane, or it's not incredibly detailed and it's just a lot. It's just huge.
So I just posted, if you want to look in our Discord.
I see.
So that is Midgar. So in the middle, that's Shinra Tower.
Okay.
And that's only 3 sectors. And I think that there's a total of 8.
Okay.
So if they're saying
big.
Yeah. If they're saying that you're going to be able to explore Midgar, I understand now why it's two Blu-rays.
I mean, yeah, yes and no. Like, I don't know. That's a lot of pixels, sure. But
if there's all their story elements, now that's the other thing too, is that are they adding to story elements? Are they adding to areas that you can explore?
Right, because I could see this easily being a quarter of that size if these are just like empty buildings.
Correct.
But if there are tons of NPCs running around, if this is like if this presents like a functioning city with whatever vehicles they have or mounts or whatever, people, markets and business sectors and all the things that you would imagine exist in a large futuristic type city, then that is
another picture.
Yeah, that's enormous. That looks absolutely huge.
So if they are rebuilding that, and like I said, you can explore all of that, and there's actually things to do. It's
that'd be cool.
Yeah. So like I said, it's gotten me extremely excited. Like I was already excited for the game. It's gotten me even more excited for this game.
I would say temper your excitement just because even if they do add a whole bunch to the game, like what you're seeing here looks like it's something out of Cyberpunk 2077, but there's no way that the game gets that in depth. Even if it is, 10 times prettier, like it's still the same game, right? Like maybe they add some side stories and maybe, they expand upon the stories that are there to have, more locations or more people or whatever. But like to still be able to call it Final Fantasy VII, they can't go that far off into left field in redesigning what's already exists. I don't know. I would say, like, even if that's what the city looks like from the outside, once you're in gameplay, you might be down on street level and all you see are like big buildings and like a street, and that's it.
So now this is the thing that kind of scares me about it. So after the conference, they talked with the developer, they talked to Square Enix, and this is from denofgeek.com. This is a quote that they said from Kitase, which is one of the producers on it. He says, before we actually started working on this, we knew that it was going to be a large content. When we started out planning the plot for the first game, so there is multiple games, that is going to be able to tell this whole story. When we started out planning the plot of the first game, it hit us again. And at that point, we decided we were going to focus on the first game on Midgar and what happens in Midgar. Unfortunately, we can't say anything more about the future games because we don't know ourselves.
Yeah, that's scary.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
So now you realize that the first game on the original PlayStation, 3 discs long.
Okay. And that was what, CDs or DVDs?
CDs.
CDs? Okay. The PlayStation 1.
PlayStation 1.
Okay.
Because DVDs were PlayStation 2.
Right. Okay. So those are like 700 megs a pop. So that was like 1.5 gigs.
Yeah. So it's like,
yeah, okay.
like I said, I am. If there's a way that there's able to explore and there's reason to explore Midgar, I am all for it. I know the story of Midgar and I know how many to it, and I think it would be roughly a 20 to 30 hour part of the story if they really could drag it out the way I think that they're going to. But then, it's like, where's the extra content? That's the part that kind of scares me about this game. Is what else extra are you going to be able to do, and is it going to take away from the main story? Like, if I'm able to explore and I'm able to level up my character, okay, but am I going to have a level cap? Because right now, I mean, if I remember correctly, it's either 99 or it's 9,999. No, I think it's level 99 that you can get your character to.
Oh, I mean, they could just scale the XP differently.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. So, but as far as the first game goes, it looks really, really good, and I want to play it.
Cool.
So,
I saw a couple of screenshots. Looks beautiful, but that's all I could really say about it. Yeah.
Crystal Chronicles, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition got announced. I know I'm avoiding the other thing that we want to talk about from Square Enix. Final Fantasy VIII Remastered got announced. I think this is a new game. I have no idea how to say it. Oninaki, Oninaki.
Sure.
So that was a new one. So those were kind of the bigger announcements, and then they got to Outriders looks kind of cool too. It's Outriders is a co-op action game from the creators of Bulletstorm.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see. I think I watched a trailer for that. That did look cool. Yeah.
So supposedly it's like a year out. Okay. So we'll talk about that as it gets closer. And then the biggest one, I think the other big announcement people were really, really waiting for was their Avengers game. First off, everybody getting so pissed off about the character design. I mean, it's character design. Yeah. You realize that can be changed in an instant. If you think that you're going to get Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, and Chris Evans and likeness, forget about it. I mean, it's like the guys are going to look different. They're going to talk different. I mean, for God's sakes, you got Troy Baker and Nolan North. I mean,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the thing that pissed me off about that trailer is there's no gameplay. I don't care that there was CG. I don't care that there was movie or whatever. We seen that. We got that. I want to know what the game looks like. You didn't show what the game looks like. You showed what a trailer looks like.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's pissing people off.
Yeah, no real gameplay. People were upset about character design, which, I mean, the whole thing about the character design is, I think at this point, is very understandable. Because we've spent the last 10 years expecting certain characters to look a certain way. And when you have a game that's trying to be realistic, you're going for realism and not like cartoony, then it's very off-putting to be like, hey, I know what Iron Man's supposed to look like. I know what, Chris Evans looks like. Why doesn't Captain America look like that? And so I get it. I get the complaints. Like, I think that was probably a misstep to go ultra realistic and not be able to secure, character likeness rights or actor likeness rights. But then also it would be extremely off-putting to see those faces with different voices, which is also an issue, which there's no way that you could get all of those actors to do voice work for a video game. Like, this game would cost them in the billions. Like, it would be so much money. So like, they were in a rock and a hard place here of trying to do an Avengers game after the Avengers is over, essentially. Like, this game should have come out 2 years ago. And you've got people's expectations in a weird place. And also, like you just said, no gameplay, just like cutscenes, just some CG or whatever. Even if it's in engine, like you don't see what you're actually doing in the game. So yeah, a lot of missteps here. as far as an Avengers game goes, like I'm curious. I want to see what the gameplay is. So that they've piqued my curiosity, but like it's not high on my radar at all.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for more information, but if they don't, like I said, I need to see gameplay. Like I'm excited because it's a Marvel's game, Avengers game, but that's the only thing that excites me. It kind of reminds me of I don't know who made it, but you remember or I think it was Sony Studios, was DC Online. Like DC Online looked great. Like there was you're going to create your own character. You're going to be able to see DC characters, and then you get into it, and it's a shit show. It was a shit show for the longest time.
Yeah,
I was like, you couldn't walk anywhere without getting killed, and it was just like, and the servers were so overloaded. It's like they tried to fit so many people into like this small city, and the city looked so drab, and it was just like. So like I've always kind of questioned like games that are based off movies or games that are based off like pre-notions of things that we've seen so much, or shows. Yeah. Like there was like a game called Defiance that came out, and it was just like things that happened in the show will happen in the game, and I'm like, I've never even played Defiance, never wanted to. Like I had no interest in that because I'm like, this is going to be a colossal fail. And I am not going to play a game that's going to fail in a year. And it did.
The TV show lasted 2 seasons, and the game lasted longer, but not that much longer.
Yeah, like it just doesn't work.
I applaud them for trying.
Yes,
to try and get something like that working. The only way that you could get something like that working is with a very notable IP. You can't go from scratch. There's just not enough there for people to hook into. The other thing that I think is a huge bummer is when you look at the world and the character designs of this Avengers game, and then you look over at the Spider-Man game that just came out.
Spider-Man looks 20 times better.
100 times better. Like that is the way that you design something from scratch. Like I don't care that Peter Parker doesn't look like any of the actors, right? No. In the Avengers game, it looks like knockoff actors. Like if all those people started stripping and fucking, I'd be like, oh, this is the porn version of the Avengers. I get it. They got actors that kind of look like the real actors, and but they can't act, and they look off.
That was one of the weird. I do have to say that was one of the weirdest analogies that you came up, but works. It works. I like it.
It totally works. Like it looks like a knockoff. It like if they called that like I was gonna say Defenders, but the Defenders is a thing. But if you call it like Avenging Superhero Team,
Ass Enders,
and it's so many buttholes. Yeah, they fight Thanos, and it's they punch him right in the ass. It looks like it's off-brand, but it's not off-brand, and that's a problem.
Well, can I also make this comparison too?
Sure.
How are you going to have a game that comes out and looks like that, but you're going to showcase like that was your showcase? That was like, okay, we have 2 big games, and we're either going to show this at the beginning and then flip and do the other one at the end, or we're going to vice versa it. Like it was like, we're going to lead with Final Fantasy, end with Avengers, or lead with Avengers, end with Final Fantasy. Like to me, they should have led with Avengers if this is what it looked like, and ended with Final Fantasy. Because now you're looking at Final Fantasy VII, which looks amazing. Just on a graphic scale, take everything else out of it. A graphic scale. Final Fantasy Remake or 7 Remake looks fucking amazing, and then you're going to end your showcase with an Avengers game that looks half that. I mean, just really, look at the landscape.
So here's the thing. I think you were 100% wrong, and here's why. If they had put Avengers first and Final Fantasy last, everybody would have immediately forgotten about Avengers. Because it is so forgettable, right? But since they put it last, it's the last thing in people's minds, and so they're remembering it. but Final Fantasy VII is so good that they could put it first and people are still going to remember and talk about it afterwards.
I get it. Okay, that makes sense.
I can see
your point.
I can see that's probably why they did it. Like you look at that trailer and you compare it up against just like everything at E3, just like as a straight comparison, it is in the bottom third because it's it's not exciting, it's off-putting, there's no gameplay, there's a big question mark all over it, like what actually is this? And then you've got the brand on there, which is like okay, but that's not a brand that if it's not a movie tie-in, nobody cares.
Correct.
Right? Because all of those characters on their own, like if the Marvel Cinematic Universe didn't exist, and think about the time before it did exist, way back in 2008, say, before there was any Marvel stuff, all of those characters, the reason why those characters are in movies is because no other studios had bought the rights to them yet because they're shitty characters. Right? Yep. Nobody knows who Iron Man was. Nobody cared about Captain America. Thor, like these were like B and C list characters. All the A-listers, the Spider-Man, the X-Men.
And even going into DC, Batman, Joker, Superman, all of that.
Yeah. Like that's the reason why we got Avengers. And it's weird to look at it that way, but if this game had come out in a world where the MCU doesn't exist, it would be like even more forgettable because nobody cares about these characters. Correct. And there was nothing, they didn't show anything special in this trailer that makes you like the one interesting part to me was, hey, how come Tony Stark has a full beard? Like that was the only thing that to me was like, well, why is that way? He always has a weird goatee. Like what's that about? That was the only part that like piqued my interest at all. Every other part of it was forgettable. And I think it was forgettable. One, like we've said, the character design was weird. The whole thing, like the style is bizarre. But in a world where Sony's Spider-Man game exists, this looks like crap. And I'm sure the developers, when they saw the Spider-Man game, they were like, oh man, because like it's so good and the colors pop and the New York is alive and it's well defined and you have one character. It's difficult when you have more than one character. It's super hard. And so yeah, those developers got the ass end of the pole on that one. It's too bad.
I think the other thing that kind of scares me, and then we'll move on to Ubisoft. The other thing that scares me is this is another games for service or service of a game or however the hell it is. It's like, oh, we're going to have weekly events and we're going to have this. And then they said when more characters come, they're going to be free. Okay, time out. What do you mean by more characters? Does this mean that we're going to get Guardians of the Galaxy people? Does this mean that we're going to get, are we going to get the other sub people? God, why can't what is it? I can't think of the names. Like the only one's coming to me is Scarlet. Scarlet Witch. Sorry.
Oh, Scarlet Witch, yeah.
Scarlet Witch, are we getting Black Panther? I mean, like what do you mean? Yeah, like what are we getting?
Yeah.
Like
what
don't tease that.
Like if they came out and they were like, and they kicked down the door and said, here we go, Avengers episode 1, here's our story arc, and it has to do with the Avengers and Captain America is killed. That's just the first year's content. Year 2 is going to introduce X-Men and Spider-Man, and year 3 we've got Guardians of the Galaxy. Like if they came out that way and was like, this is something where we're going to slowly introduce, the entire Marvel universe, episode by episode, and have these huge story arcs. And as long as you buy the base game, then certain characters are unlocked. All this stuff. Like if they came out with more of a plan, I think people would be looking at it differently. But as of right now, I agree. What is it? Is it a $60 game and that's it? Is it a game where they're like, here?
Like, I'm more excited about Ultimate Alliance that's coming out in a couple weeks than the Avengers game.
There you go.
I mean, and that's a top-down Diablo clone.
Right, right.
I mean, if you really think about it, it's a Diablo clone.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, so yeah. I mean, I think it's just like, where does this fit? Yeah. What type of game is it? Where does it fit?
Even if it was Lego style, where they're like, the bad guys attacking the city, choose your heroes, and here's like 30 heroes, and you just pick the top 5, and then you go in and you can switch on the fly and do battles and whatever. Like, that would be cool, but show us that. Like, give us something to be excited about. I don't get excited about off-brand Avengers CG trailer. I really don't, and nobody else does either.
And I think we've proven that. So
yeah, okay, moving on. Yep.
Ubisoft. We'll obviously get to the main game on there, but there's a couple of things I want to touch upon that I think they did really, really cool. Their last thing that they showed, Gods and Monsters, is supposed to be like a Zelda game, but done with like Greek mythology.
That's neat.
That's a neat. I mean, it's only a 30-second or 15-second teaser, but I'm looking forward to that. Roller Champions, I wanted to play the demo. I just didn't get a chance to. I think that would just be a great game that if you and I actually just started playing it, we could have hours of fun. Go ahead.
I was going to say it gave me Rocket League vibes.
Yes, Roller Derby Rocket League.
Yeah, it's free to play. You get on there, like they're going to give you a bunch of like shiny hats that you can buy, and you play a game, and the matches are short, and then you play more, and it just seems like a fun time.
I just want to see when you score a goal that it still explodes.
Yeah, I want everything to explode all the time.
Yeah. Yep. The Division movie is headed to Netflix. With Jake Gyllenhaal.
Cool.
Yeah. Neat. That's like literally. I think that was the thought that I had was neat.
It's
Ubisoft,
it's going to be free. I mean, everyone has Netflix. Netflix is essentially free, so I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
It's got that going for it. But
when I need to fall asleep to something.
Hey, it could be good.
It could be good.
It could be good.
Remember, they did come out with Assassin's Creed, though.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I never, that's a movie that I've watched half of.
That's a movie I've decided I have the logo tattooed on my leg, and I avoid that like a plague. It's kind of like the Super Mario Brothers movie with Captain Lou Albano. Never happened.
Oh,
never happened.
I thought you were gonna say the one with the other guys, and I was like, I own that shit. That shit's nuts. I love it.
Ubisoft has launched its own PC subscription service. I don't need another subscription service now.
They don't have enough right now to make that worth it, I don't think. But for like diehard Ubisoft fans, like cool, like they'll dig that.
Yep, sure. Rainbow Six Quarantine. I've never been a huge Rainbow Six person.
Nah, I don't care.
But
I mean, okay, but let's break that down real quick. It's what, 3-player co-op?
Something like that. A co-op experience slated for next year. Quarantine described as a squad-based survival first-person shooter
against legions of infected. Launched sometime in 20. Okay, they're trying something new, which good on them. Cool.
Let's see.
Breakpoint.
Well, before that, the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm gonna check that out. To me, it's just like I'm gonna find a way how to watch it. To me, just to have the guy's name is Ian Grimm.
Yeah.
So it's just like, absolutely.
I mean, it was developed a lot with Charlie Day and Megan Gans for Apple TV Plus. I really like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because it goes out on a limb and it tries new stuff. And it was weird that they announced a TV show at E3. But what was cool is that it wasn't cringy when he was announcing it. Like this guy, Rob McElhaney, the creator and star of the show, you can tell he's a gamer and he understands.
He understands gaming humor.
Yes. Like he didn't come up and be like, hey guys, here's our new fun pilot. He was like, this is about, developers with big egos and how they're shitty. And he's like, and I'm going to get beat up, backstage because of that, because there's a bunch of developers backstage. And, and it's real. It's true. Yeah. It had a ring of truth to it. And so I think this show is going to have a very small audience, but it's going to have a devoted audience. Because Yeah, people like us, people who are into games or into game development, who understand the lingo and all that, and we'll get the jokes, and it'll be hilarious, and it'll be a lot of fun.
And you realize that there's a joke right in the title.
Oh yes.
Just the fact, because I like to call it, and this is not a slam at gamers, because I consider myself a gamer, obviously. That I can be very analytical on things. So I think a lot of gamers are very analytical. Hence why we have a podcast and we're analytically talking about games. The fact that the name of the game that they made is called Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet makes no sense at all.
It doesn't.
Like that title for a game makes no sense, and there's a joke right in the middle of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just it says nothing.
Yeah, and it's totally a game title that you could see on a shelf and be like, yeah, it's a game.
Yeah, it's a game.
Like, but knowing that it's a fake game, it just adds a level of humor to it. And then like the developer or the character, the egotistical game developer Ian Grimm, the whole thing is the trailer is just him talking about how awesome he is, but it's really a trailer for the game, but it's just him and the ego.
And then the one girl's like, you realize there's no gameplay.
Like we were just talking about with the freaking Marvel thing, like where's the gameplay, right? It's the same thing. Where's the gameplay?
So I'm really actually, at least I'm going to be watching the first episode.
I'll be checking it out for sure.
And I hope they don't PG it. Like if it's going to be a mature, make it a mature game. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you have a mature comedian and you have two other mature comedians writing the jokes. Like, make it a mature. Don't go over and don't say fuck every other word and make a dick joke, the whole time. But you know what I'm saying? Like, don't PG-13 it.
Right. And if you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, like, it's a TV show and they do get away with a lot, but it never like crosses the line, but it gets right up to the line and like slaps it. Like they push a lot for what's available on regular TV, and this is coming to Apple TV Plus, and I don't know what Apple TV Plus, what that ratings for that's going to be like, but if it's anything like, original content that's on, Amazon Prime or Hulu or Netflix, they know who their audiences are and they just go for it. Put an M before it or whatever, and just let them go. So hopefully it's like that, because that would make a whole lot of sense.
Do you watch It's Always Sunny?
I do, yeah.
So can I tell you that my favorite episode, and I don't know why I find this one not any type of out there or whatever, we respect everybody's views. I just find that it was funny in this episode is that, remember when they go to the abortion clinic and there's a rally, there's a protest there, and they're going there to pick up women.
Pick up women, yeah. See, that's the kind of stuff like that concept is not R-rated, but it's so close.
So close.
Because it's so wrong. And I love what I love about the show. It's about shitty people doing shitty things to each other.
Yep.
And they keep one-upping it. And that's great. And it's not parody. It's parody for idiots.
Yes.
Like this anyway, we could go into
I call myself an idiot. So.
Yeah, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. John Barenthal on New Ghost Recon. To me, Ghost Recon is just going to be a reskin of other stuff and just new missions in a different world.
It seems that way.
It looks good. Anybody who's a fan of Ghost Recon, once again, this is going to be one of those games that I say in 6 months to a year, you're going to be able to get it for $20 because there's going to be so much more content out for it. Totally. Or it's going to fail miserably and they're just going to be like, okay, it's just one of those games. Go ahead and play it.
Well, Ghost Recon is like a platform now, right? Like that's just a style within the Tom Clancy verse or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's cool they got John Barenthal. In terms of E3, like he strutted out there with a dog, and he told the dog to sit, and the dog laid there and just chilled the whole time while he was talking. And that was awesome. Yeah. That was just another cool E3 moment. And I absolutely love his Punisher. I thought his the Netflix show Punisher, which I've only watched the first season. I haven't watched the second season yet, but that first season was incredible. It was so good.
Yep,
and he was
really
fun
good.
on Walking Dead too.
So, two things talking about celebrities. One, John Barenthal. So, my brother-in-law is the character name from The Walking Dead that he played, Shane Walsh. Okay. Exactly how it's spelled, all of that. So
really?
He has met John Barenthal every convention. They used to live in Phoenix and wherever. So anytime Barenthal would be in Phoenix for Comic-Con or whatever, he would always get a picture, to the point that John Barenthal remembers, expects him to show up, because he'll come up with there's a couple of signs. One of the pictures that they have is he says, "Hey, I'm Shane Walsh," and my brother-in-law actually has a sign that says, "No, I'm really the real Shane Walsh." So I mean, there's always, he's always up for a good thing. So it's
awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then speaking of another celebrity, I'm going to go back to Keanu. Too much into it. Do you know that there's a petition now to make him Man of the Year, Times Man of the Year, or Person of the Year?
Who, Barenthal?
No, Keanu Reeves.
Oh, Keanu Reeves. Yeah. Man, I'll sign that petition.
I would too.
He's breathtaking.
He is breathtaking. One more thing, and then we'll get into the other, what I think is the biggest announcement stuff. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, did you hear it's getting a story creator, an educational mode?
I saw the story creator. It's like a mission creator.
Yeah, but you can actually type out what you want it to say. You can have dialogue trees. So if you're having this conversation with this person, you can then dialogue tree it out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you can do that. You actually take the map and you can say, okay, you have to go from here and go from here. So then you do this and you do this, and then your mission is over. And then you can actually post it for people.
That's neat.
The thing that I don't know, and I haven't explored it enough, I wonder if it's only for the PC people, or if you can actually play those games on the console versions too.
I imagine, since there's no recorded dialogue and it's just go here and do this, the mission should be fairly lightweight and use all in-game assets besides the text. Mm-hmm. So I can't imagine that these things would be very large, download. Like if I made a mission, it would be a series of go here on the map, go there on the map, spawn 5 wolves, kill 5 wolves, whatever. And so that shouldn't be a big deal, and it should be pretty easy to transfer, I would assume, between PC and Xbox or the PS or whatever. So I don't know, but I would wager a guess that it should be available, on everything.
All I know is that with how creative some people are, games and any type of other, you can create actual levels of things. Mm-hmm. That's probably that game's going to be endless to a point.
There's going to be 1% of all these are going to be awesome. 89% of them are going to be super mediocre and boring. And then there's going to be a solid 10% that it just says when the dialogue tree just says dicks. And then or your second choice is boobs. And then he goes go all the way across the map, kill one thing, come all the way back, go to places away from fast travel points, it's in all this nonsense. And the end is cool, you get $2 as your reward or something. Mm-hmm. And that's just going to be wonderful. It's just that's the internet for you.
That is the internet for you. So the world premiere of this is where I think is the biggest announcement. And I think, honestly, this is tied with Cyberpunk 2077 just because of Keanu Reeves. Mm-hmm. But Watch Dogs Legion.
Yes.
This looks amazing to me.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that you can recruit non-playable characters and then you grow them and then you do different missions based off of them. I mean, you realize that this game, once again, this game could go into a never-ending game. You could have game, you could have story, and then you could have end game stuff of just doing extra things. The combat looks all revamped. which looks absolutely incredible. The best way that I can describe it is that, and I've seen it a couple of times, is like it's John Wick. You're fighting like you're John Wick. But remember that's the character that person was using. Not all characters are going to fight like that. I love the fact that there's permadeath. So
yeah, that's cool.
If that person dies, they are dead.
That's like State of Decay. It kind of got that vibe from that part of it.
So like my thing is this is the concept of it, the look of it, the language in it, the combat, just the actual moving of things in it, I think looks great. There is one thing that scares the absolute shit out of me with it.
What's that?
When does it become redundant?
Yeah. So that's like my expectations for this game are extremely tempered. This I can see the limitations just from the point of view of I'm a gamer and I've played games and I know what's possible and what's not. There is no way that every single person in this world is unique. There's no way that it's true that any person that you see on screen you can recruit. I think that's a lot of that was smoke and mirrors. I think what we're going to get are archetypes. There's going to be like 4 classes and 4 skins for them, right? So it'll be like, here's a brawler, here's a hacker, here's a tech guy, here's a whatever drone expert, whatever the things are, right? And then they're going to say, okay, here is kid, here is old lady, here is middle-aged man, here is middle-aged woman, and then we're going to mix and match those. And they did the math on that and said, okay, we need X amount of voice actors, and we need X amount of opening stories for these every permutation. And that's where we're going to draw the line. So while there is going to be a lot of content there, there is going to be a limit. And I'm going to say 3 hours in, you start going, I just did the same mission for the same type of person that looks slightly different. And I can't find the one person that I need. And I keep finding this other kind of person. And I can't recruit the other one because they keep dying. And like, they need to have some really smart controls in the background to make it feel like you, the player, are making decisions when you're really not. And that is very hard to do. In a game like this, where they say, like, look at all this freedom, what they're really saying is, this looks like a whole lot of freedom, because if we told you that there were like only 16 people that you could recruit that are going to be skinned differently, you'd be very angry with us. And so we do a mix and match thing to make it seem different all the time. But like this game, I think I see what they're going for, and I applaud them. I think the concept behind this game is really high, and I love it. I love like the recruit anybody, thing that they're trying to say. But it's just not technically possible right now. I don't know if it ever will be possible, but as of right now, it's not technically possible to say, here's a city with millions of people in it, and you can walk up to any one of them and become them and play this game. That's not possible. You would just be getting copies of copies of copies all the time. And even now, like in these large scale games, even like the NPC, the people walking around the cities, you'll see duplicates of people walking around. Like they've gotten better at it. But it's really just amount of like how much you're going to pay artists to make 12,000 different shirts, and then you just spread them out in the city. I'm kind of getting off topic. I think this game's going to be cool. I'm going to buy this game. I'm going to play this game, and I like that they're trying something different. I like the concept of Legion, of like you're not going against one person like the last 2 games. You're going against an entire revolution, and you as the player get to play the entire revolution. I like that. I get that. That's going to be awesome. I do think, and which was your fear, I do think the game will live and die on how well those initiation missions are and how varied the people that you are able to recruit are. And they might have a couple of hidden ones, a couple, hidden up their sleeves of cool stuff that they're going to show. But if that tech doesn't work the way that they've said it does, and if it's disappointing, the game will bomb. Because
I get it.
They're saying like, this is the cool part about this game. They're setting it up as like, you can go around and recruit anyone. Like, first off, that's a lie. Like, there's no way that you can do that. But they said like they were kind of cagey because they said anyone, or you can attempt to recruit anyone. Well, sure, but 90% of the people you're not even going to want to attempt because they have no skills, right? But you find like that old lady who is a hacker, and that's like cool. And it's neat that they did that, and it's neat that they're going to have different combat styles, and different people are going to be good for different jobs, and so you have to make sure you have the right people for the right job. Like they said, a drone expert or a hacking expert or a combat expert, all those things. That's awesome. But I would wager to say the game, I would almost be more excited if they said, here's the game, but there's going to be like 30 playable people, and all of them are voiced by different voice actors, and they each have their own unique story. And not like it could be anybody. I would be more excited if it was a more direct experience.
So
I think.
So I knew that this was going to come up, so I did some research.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is from PC Games N, so PCGAMESN.com. And they talk about this whole thing that you're just talking about.
Uh-huh.
And this is the actual headline title to the article is How Watch Dogs Legion's Quantum Systems Create a Near Infinite Number of Scenarios. Okay. So I'm going to kind of paraphrase to without butchering it my own way. I'm just going to read what's in here. So it's a little bit. So just bear with me. So there's a lot of content and there's a lot of procedural systems. Creative director Clint Hocking explains when I put much the same question to him, as those things are working together to give us a really curated characters and an enormous amount of diversity. At the core of everything is a relational database called Census. You see a bin man on the street. He's nothing. He's just like a bin man in any other game. Except when you profile him, we're able to look into that database and go, well, he's wearing the clothes of a bin man, so that's his job. It's 3:00 in the afternoon, so he works between noon and 8 p.m. And he's in a bin man. And as he's a bin man, he makes a certain amount of money, so he can afford to live in these particular areas. Hocking's explanation suggests Legion is a quantum sea of possibilities, finally only settled on when you are observed and occupant in its world. From that, we pick one of the neighborhoods where he continues. We already decided his ethnicity when we spawned him, but he'll be more likely to have certain kinds of hobbies depending on where he lives. Then there's some random procedural stuff in there that figures out what kind of education he has, what interests, and we just built out from there. This is how we generate a character. So it doesn't seem that you're generating a character until you profile the person.
Okay. That makes sense. I get how all of that can work.
So but it's a little bit more.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So layered on the foundation are Legion's narrative that Bin Man's father might have been detained by Albion, the PMC, which policies London and Legion's near future setting, or breaking him out could represent the recruitment mission for bringing our refuse expert into the DedSec fold. Sorry, that was a weird way of saying that. But it could
refuse,
equally
not refuse.
I'm sorry?
Refuse, not refuse.
Yes, refuse. That's right.
They keep saying bin man, but a garbage man. If people,
garbage man. Yeah,
that's a London way of saying it. But yeah,
yep. But it could equally be a granny or politician. Help. We'll discuss their version of the same mission in different ways to who they are. Hocking is keen to stress that the game's entire script has not only been recorded multiple times by a number of different. but broadly rewritten for a wide range of different personas as well.
Okay. See, where this breaks down for me is whether it's voice acting. Because we're not yet at the level of technology where we can create realistic sounding voices out of computers.
Well, see, he actually at the last paragraph on this, I'll send you this article. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
because there's a lot to it.
Go ahead.
So, like, they asked him about people, lines of dialogue, and recorded. He says, "I don't want to give hard numbers because they're really subjective." He tactfully replies, "There are hard numbers, the numbers of actors we recorded, for example. But what you have to understand is that you could have that garbage man asking you to rescue his brother, and those characters could have had the same actor, but we use voice modulation at runtime, and if you were to hear them talk to each other, you wouldn't even know it was the same person."
Okay, that I need to hear to believe, because
that's what I'm thinking too.
The human ear is very good at knowing what is a human and what is not a human. So here's what I was going to say before. I think it still stands. Where this breaks down is voice actors, and you can have hundreds of voice actors doing all these lines, and you can have the lines broken up in different ways and all that stuff, and that's great. But I think what's going to end up happening is you look at that garbage man, and the game is looking for somebody to fill a role, right? Because the mission may be go find a hacking expert, right? You go up to that garbage man and you profile him, and if as it goes through it creates this person, because that's essentially what this guy is explained. You look at this guy, he has certain stats just from being spawned, right? His job, his clothes, his ethnicity, all that stuff. You look at him, and then the game goes, okay, let's roll some dice and generate the rest of this character, essentially, right? It picks randomly from a database saying, okay, if this is his job, this is his pay rate. If this is his pay rate, then this is where he can live. And if this is where he can live, then here's what his hobbies can be. If these are what his hobbies are, here's who his friends are. It'll just go down the line and generate all these things. So it does that. And then the game's going to say, okay, we're looking for a hacker expert. Did we just spawn a hacking expert? No? Okay, this guy is not a hacking expert. Go look at somebody else. So you've now looked at this person, it's generated something, and you've gone, oh, not him, look at somebody else.
Yep.
So you're going to get content out of doing that scan for about 3 seconds before you go, this isn't who I'm looking for, and you're going to move on. Because all of that stuff doesn't matter if it's not going towards the person who you're looking for, right?
Correct. Yep.
You go to the next guy, the guy right next to him, who's like, in a business suit, and you're looking for a hacker, and it rolls out and it generates all this stuff. And one of his interests is computers. And okay, now this guy can be a hacking expert. Great. Now we're going to assign him a voice actor. And so it'll go through the line of was male or female. Male. Okay, so we'll pick a male actor, and we'll pick, okay, what mission is this? Mission 37A. Okay, we had 3 actors, record for 37A. Cool. We'll pick one of those, and then let's roll a dice. And voice modulation is up 10%. Okay, now go. Right.
Yep.
And so that's cool. I like that. That's really awesome. But it's also limiting, and it's not anybody in the city can be recruited. There's no way that unless there's a very specific job that a garbage man can do that you're trying to recruit for, you're never going to recruit a garbage man.
No, you're right. Well, I think the other thing too is now if you look closely at the trailer, okay, when the first guy dies, okay, and then you go and you start to pick your next hacker.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you notice something in the top left corner of that?
I don't
many
remember.
of 20.
Okay.
So let's start breaking this down.
Mm-hmm.
You can now, let's say they have 1 million different type of algorithms that you can have for people, voice modulation and what you can do and all of that in different stats. Okay. So there's 1 million people. Now I'm looking and saying, I am going to recruit my first 5. Oh, I really like this brawler. you can now level that brawler up. So let's say you've now taken that person on missions for 10 hours.
Sure.
And now you've taken this other person on a mission for 10 hours. You've now played 20 hours of the game with these people's missions, and maybe you've unlocked half of their stuff. And now you want to get a new person. And now you want to get... So there's time that's being spent right now and only a limit. Now, I don't know if you can open up more slots so you can recruit 30 or 50 or it goes up to whatever it is, but you're going to spend time with those people as as you recruited them, and you're able to build them up. I think that's going to be one of their saving graces, is that each person has a skill tree that they're going to be able to build up. Okay. So now how those skill trees differentiate, I don't know. Once again, that goes into question. How much difference is it going to be? But you know what I'm saying? It could just be a stat thing. If this person is plus 50% of brawl damage and then you're going to go up to 75, well, he's going to be a badass brawler. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You could have that same stat, but it might not level to that same amount, and you can still reuse that same type of skill or passive skill if you want to say it. So one, you're already limiting the amount of people that you're actually going to use, because you're not just going to be like, hey, I'm just going to go recruit Happy and that's all I'm going to do in the game. No, you actually still have to do other missions with those recruits. So now if we have a million different type of scenarios that you can have, you're just scratching the surface after how many hours of different characters that you can find. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think you're making a great point that even if there are, say, hundreds of permutations of different people that you can get, after you get 10 or 20 of them, you're going to want to keep them. I think they might be counting on the player saying, I have a brawler now and I'm going to do everything in my ability to keep this brawler alive, right? And then if it dies, well, I'm just going to go out and look for one more brawler. And the difference between two brawlers can be immense. Whereas if you had 100 brawlers all in a line, you'd say, oh, well, these are just versions of each other. But if you only pick two of those out, they could be unique enough that it fools the player.
Correct.
So yeah, if they're shooting for that, if they're wanting people to be like, look, here, really you're picking like 5 main characters and then, backups just in case, and you're really just working on those. That's cool. Like I can get behind that. I could see where they're going with that. That part of it really depends on the story and the gameplay.
Absolutely.
And they could do a thing too where they're like, let's make these people very hard to kill for the first 5 levels to let the player get attached to them. Then we'll start cranking the difficulty up and making it more challenging.
Exactly. And that's what I'm wondering, what their end game is. It going to be you have to do this, because Ubisoft has almost every game they have daily missions, they have weekly missions, they have monthly missions for things. True. All of this stuff. So if they're going to just keep adding content, and then obviously there's going to be DLC and all of that, now suddenly this end game stuff starts to really ramp up. Yeah, you're going to have to recruit other people. You're going to have to look for that diamond in the rough somewhere.
There could be missions that are very specific, like you need a level 15 male hacker with the who loves candy, and only that person can go on this one mission. Correct. So you go through and you have to hunt and find that one specific person, and that's a whole nother gameplay loop all in itself. Okay, I can see what and they can also stealth drop, more voice actors or more options in an update.
Correct.
All that stuff. Okay.
So I think the biggest thing that this comes down to is mechanics of the game look very good, and then what are the stories? What are the stories that you're going to get into? Now, I don't know about you, but I love the story of the first one, and I love the story of the second one. I am a Watch Dogs fan.
Yeah, they're cool.
So I'm all for it. I got really excited. I got really excited to see this game. I'm trying to convince my wife to allow me to buy the $200 thing where you actually get the actual LED mask and crown.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. I'm trying. Wow. But no, I mean, this is
wait. To that point, something that was cool about this game too that I liked is that the person that you're playing as, when you go out to do a mission, you put a crazy mask on.
Yes.
to hide your identity, and I dig that. I think that's cool.
I like the fact that his mask, they're not like, oh, they're just a generic. Like this was like, I have a skull with a crown and there's blood coming out of the eyeball sockets. Like that's cool to me.
You'll be, because of those kinds of choices, you'll really be able to customize your group, your club, your whatever it's called, your dead sec, group.
And they have confirmed that there is co-op.
Okay, there you go. You grab somebody, you play together. I mean, this really does look like they looked at State of Decay and went, what can we use from that game? Because that game has permadeath. That game has like characters that have stories that kind of generate as they level up. Because I can see like they're going to say you have to do a mission to recruit them, and then I can also see like, oh, and then there's a mission at level 10 to give them extra skills, and then there's a mission at level 20 when they reach level 20, and then you do that mission, it unlocks more skills, and because it's random rolls, that'll be different for, like, even if you have 3 brawlers, each of their intros should be different. Like their level 10 upgrade would be different, their level 20 upgrades will all be different, all that kind of stuff. And it will really lead to more of a unique gameplay with these characters, and you get attached to them, just like in State of Decay. There are characters where I'm like, I'm going to be extra careful with this character because I've been with them. They've been with me a long time, and I like their stats, and I want to keep them around. And so I give them the good guns. I give them the extra health packs. I give them the cool stuff because I want them to stay alive.
Correct. And I think my last thing with it that I'm going to say about it is, I think they took a page out of Assassin's Creed's book for this.
What's that?
So by the time Syndicate hit with Assassin's Creed, the game was stale.
Mm-hmm.
It was extremely stale. They needed to do something to pull people back. And then they basically experimented with Origins, and then they were able to create Odyssey.
Yes.
Okay, and Odyssey is amazing. Probably one of the best, if not the best, Assassin's Creed game that's out there. Okay? I think what they looked at and they said, we cannot create a third Watch Dogs that is not different somehow. Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Assassin's Creed, the original, if you did not call them Assassin's Creed and you changed the character look, they're 2 completely different games.
Yeah, for sure.
They really are, how the mechanics work and all of that. Okay? I think that's what they had to do with Watch Dogs. They realized that we either have to do something and we need to take, and they took a huge risk saying we're going to make this a more RPG element of Assassin's Creed. Now I think what they're looking at and saying, we have to take and we have to think of something that's completely out of the box. And I'm telling you, whoever or whatever team decided, why don't we make every non-playable character a playable character? To me, it's a genius idea. Whether it flops or not, that's yet to be seen. But the fact that they went over and they said, what is one thing that games have that we have not been able to do? And this is every character that you see, supposedly, you can play as. That is crazy to me.
Yeah, this was definitely thinking outside the box and having it look like it's still going to be on brand, right? This is still Watch Dogs.
Yep.
It fits the whole like rebelling against the government, thing, and surveillance and personal privacy and all, it still hits all those notes that Watch Dogs has always hit. And just them, like somebody, kicking the door into a boardroom somewhere and saying, I got it, no main character. And then them running with that idea. That's great. Good on you guys, Ubisoft. Like that is awesome that you even entertained that notion. What game hasn't had a main character ever? Besides like a racing game,
Yeah, I mean,
every game
think of an open world game. There's not one. There's always a main character.
Yeah, always.
Or
every single one has had one. Or you create your own character or whatever. But yeah.
Or an open world game that has permadeath besides State of Decay.
Yeah, State of Decay is that's it.
But can you really say that there's a main character in State of Decay?
You can't. No, I guess they kind of did it first.
Yeah.
But it's not. it's your few people against everyone else is an enemy, right? You're survivors and everyone else is a zombie, or it's different, but how that game had to be an indie game first, right?
Oh, yeah.
The first State of Decay was an indie game because no big publisher would have gone after that, but it was good. It was a good game. People liked it, and now State of Decay 2 has Microsoft behind it, right? Yep. And now you've got Watchdog Legions, which it's got to have its roots in State of Decay somehow. Somebody played that game and went, "This is a cool idea," and so now you've got big AAA game saying, "Hey, look what we're doing," and that's neat. But I still stand by there are technical limitations here, and I think they've got to be really clever with their smoke and mirrors to not have it fall apart. Which they know that too. So hopefully we're all going to be fooled in a good way.
I agree. And then the last thing I'm going to say about it is it kind of works also that that London's or England's going through the Brexit. So
yeah, that really ties in a smart way. Yeah, moving from the US to England was an interesting move as well. But like they said in their stuff, like it's one of the most surveilled countries, or at least London, one of the most surveilled cities in the world, and so that really is on brand and fits. So that's cool. Yeah,
but I think overall, kind of an interesting E3. I don't think really kind of crazy anything happened. I think that PlayStation was severely missed, but we can talk about that at a different time. Our overall expectations or reactions to what we think of E3 as an overall thing. But I think that will do it for us. I know we ran a little long this episode, but we're having some good conversation. So, Steve, you got anything in closing?
In closing, I just want to say that I think I was right way back when I said that most announcements in this E3 were going to be coming sometime 2020. And that was very prevalent the entire
Yes,
E3.
it was.
Lots of stuff is coming out in 2020, and thank you. That's 1 point for me. Yep. 1 point. Everyone else, negative 1 point. That's how it works.
Well, they're not here, so I think it's -2.
Yeah. So yeah, that was. I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen, and it totally did. And I really think that it's just because it sounds cool and it sounds futuristic, and 2020 is easy to say and easy to remember, and so 2020 is going to be the year of the game just because it sounds cool.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. So obviously I'm looking forward to a couple of them. So that will do it for us tonight. So once again, check out our Discord, check out ouchthathurts.com, HERTZ.com, and the BS Podcast Network. And for me and Steve, we'll see you guys later.
Good night.